I've always felt that if my kid ever has an issue with what I do for a living or how I self-express or what I write about, then I'll be like, okay, I will stop doing all that, but you will starve. Because that's how I make a living, you know. So, for me, if she came to me and she was like, why do you do these things? I'd be like, because that's how Dad earns, man. Like, Dad earns by expressing himself and being very honest while doing it. You should support that kind of thing. But she's grown up in that house, and we've raised her to be very kind of open kid. I don't think anything in the book would put her off. It would definitely, like, make her eyes widen. I mean, she's 12, so she don't know about half the things that go on in that book. But I don't think that she'd be like, please stop doing this. I'm humiliated. I mean, she might. She's a tween. So I showed up at a gas station, man. I dropped her off at her bus stop, which was right next to a gas station. And I was wearing this pair of Batman shorts, like just Batman. They're not boxers, but they're one step above boxers. Not like real shorts, but very thin. But, stuff you wear around the house like PJ pants. And I had like a jacket on top of it. And I went out to go pump gas. I wanted to get out of the car and pump some gas. She said, where are you going? And I was like, I'm going to pump some gas. She's like, not in those shorts. And I was just like, are you kidding me? What, the Batman shirt? She's like, they got bat symbols all over it. I said, you're named Harley Quinn after the Joker's sidekick. Embrace it, kid. So she's learned to kind of accept the geekiness of the household, the candor of the household as well. I think I got to the set of, movie was called A Couple of Dicks, and later on the title got changed to Cop Out. I got to the set of that movie, like almost everyone else working on that movie, enthused to work with Bruce Willis. We were all huge Bruce Willis fans. So a lot of us, me included, took huge pay cuts to make that movie, to make the budget work and get it to where it needed to be. He got his salary, of course. He took no pay cuts. But the rest of us, to make that budget work, Mark Platt, the producer, he didn't even take his salary. I gave up 84% of my salary from Zack and Mary Make a Porno to Cop Out. There was an 86% pay drop, and only because I was like, I don't care. I just want to work with Bruce Willis. Tracy Morgan didn't get paid as much as he could have got paid because he was just like, I'm going to make a movie with Bruce Willis. And all of us showed up with that enthusiasm, and I don't think that dude showed up to make the movie with us. He wasn't the dude we all thought he was going to be, which is not really his problem. I guess it's more about the expectations that people have of him, and me included. I had worked beside him as an actor in the Live Free or Die Hard movie, but this was the first time I was working with him where I'm ostensibly in charge as the guy who's making decisions. And you've seen the movies and the characters he plays. Bruce just doesn't work well with authority. I don't know how else to say it. And so even though I'm not authoritative, or I'm like, do what I say, Willis, I was, I top from the bottom, man. I'm like, do what you want. I'm here to help you. That dude just don't like having to show up to a set at a specific time when like, we were shooting in the mornings. He'd be like, why the hell are we all here this early? And we'd shoot at nights, and he'd be like, why can't you shoot this during the day? I was like, dude, if I can't shoot at night during the day, when am I supposed to make the movie? Do you give me a window? Just tell me when we can shoot the movie. There was one point where he goes, do you want to hit me? We were in the middle of an on-set argument where he cleared the set, and he's just like, he's telling me it was about something ridiculous, about an eye line on the matte box for a shot that he wasn't even in, that was involving like Kevin Pollak and Adam Brody. And then he was, he was like, we were almost done with the shot, and I was like, that's it, man, check the gate, meaning we're done, we're moving on to the next setup. And he goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. And again, he's not even in the shot. He's off camera. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, we're not done? I look at him, he goes, come over here. Waves me over. And I go, all right, everybody, hold on one second. I'm going to go talk to the director. And he turned so coldly. He didn't like that. He goes, what did you say? And I was like, I said I was going to go talk to the director because you told me that we're not done. We're going to go again. And he goes, do you want to say something to me? Can I talk to you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you got an issue? And I was like, no. Do you have an issue? And he goes, maybe we should clear the set. And I was like, do you want me to clear the set? Okay. I'd never worked with a major movie star before, so I don't know how they think. Please don't tell Ben Affleck I said that. So anyway, I cleared the set and whatnot, and then we had this kind of tete-a-tete. It was weird, man, because he was kind of, I wouldn't say aggro, but he was alpha mailing me. And you can't alpha mail me because I'm like, it's your world, man. I ain't ever going to try to alpha you back, man. You put your hair up, I back down because I know how to top from the bottom. So I was just like, hey, man, it's your world and whatnot. And he literally, he just goes, do you want to hit me? You want to take a swing at me? And I was like, what? Is somebody shooting this? Is your ex-wife's current husband, which was then Ashton Kutcher, shooting this for punked? Because why would you say something like that? It was crazy, dude, crazy. The biggest, most important lesson one could ever take from something like that: never fly fucking Southwest Airlines. It's that simple, man. That's the only lesson to learn. They've got some bizarre policies that they don't make clear when you're buying tickets. And I didn't even fall in under the criteria for this thing, and still they used it to smear me. I don't think I was thrown off for that at all. My seatbelt went around me, my armrest went down. The two ladies next to me were just like, he's not even on our space. They bounced me for a personal reason. There was a dude in the jetway who I think was just like, yank him off the plane because he didn't like my style or the cut of my jib. I saw it in his face. And then like less than 5 minutes later, I got yanked off and they were like, well, the pilot's asking that you should leave. I was like, ma'am, I can't see the pilot where I'm sitting. How can the pilot possibly see me? And I literally just sat down. But they were coming up with their cover story already. That's what I hate about Southwest. They never just said, look, man, somebody made a bad call. Clearly this dude is not too fat to fly. But instead, since I was sitting there tweeting about, hey, man, I'm fat, but I'm not too fat to fly on your plane, they just used that. They just used that as a profile. And then they started putting up information that wasn't even true, going, well, he regularly buys multiple tickets to fly on our airline. So not true. The cover story kept going. And it was all, later on, they then changed. You know, they put out a blog going, the captain is in charge, and he determined that Mr. Smith was too large to fly, blah, blah, blah. And then they put up this blog correction, never told anybody, just corrected it without saying a word, where the captain was removed from the equation completely. And they're like, a staff member made the determination. Because the captain, I guess, whose name was Captain Laysath, that guy like hit the ground, I guess, when they landed, and he was just like, why is this fat dude attacking me on Twitter? And that's because that's what Southwest Airlines told me. They're like, Captain Laysath said that you were too fat to be on the plane. They literally lied about one of their own employees and threw him under the bus, or the plane, as it were. And then later on, they like covered it up, took it away, and just said, oh, it was just a crew member. What a despicable company this is. Now, there are a lot of companies that don't treat their customer base very well. And unfortunately, Southwest has people over the barrel because they have cheap rates, or they used to. Not as much anymore. They're becoming competitive. But I understand some people are like, hey, man, I can't fly on the other airlines. Southwest's cheap enough for me. And I say, I grant you that. I get it. But my best advice to people is, if you're 200 pounds or over, steer clear from Southwest, because they could just yank you out of your seat with no warning, with no rights whatsoever. They'll offer you a voucher maybe if you're lucky, but their policy is too specious and they can't enforce it because it means it would shut down so much business. So instead, they let people at the gate enforce it, which is really unfair to do to their crew. And oddly enough, the people who enforce it at the gate, man, are always thin. And to a thin person, every fat person is fat. Doesn't matter what fat you are. If you're not as thin as them, you're just fat in general. If it's going to be Romney, I could breathe a sigh of relief because I just saw Book of Mormon on Broadway and I love it. So if that's what he's about, I love it. He's got a kooky religion that's as depicted in the musical. It's fun and adventurous and whatnot. Who knew that Jesus lived in America? The Santorum guy, I've heard all of his speak before, not particularly from him, but people of his ilk. Like lately the dude's talking about like, you know what's wrong with this country? Pornography. And I'm like, buddy, that's one of the only things right about this country, man. One of the only kickback moments most of us have, men or women, is look at naked pictures. Please don't take our naked pictures from us. So I'm not a Santorum guy. I mean, I'm not a Republican anyway, so it doesn't affect me. But hopefully it'll be Mitt Romney because, I don't know, he doesn't seem nearly as Bible bashing. You know, I'm spiritual myself. I believe in God. I don't need some dude judging me and how I live and cramming God down my throat, man. God is something that you go to the fridge and you're like, I want a can of God, and you go and you enjoy it. The moment somebody's like, you got to take all this God, you got to carry it, and you got to live these rules, they ruin a good thing, man. They take a simple, beautiful notion like, hey, there's an invisible person up in the sky who's looking out for you, and turn it into a controlling device to make people hate each other and divide. So Romney seems less than so than that guy. So I'd say he's the man, but I'm going Obama either way.